And we're live. All right. I am so excited and honored to have Candace Yaeger here on the Move Happy podcast and blog. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here.
So awesome. Well, for those that don't know who you are, your background, we'd love to get like an origin story, where you came from and what are you doing now?
Okay, so gosh, an origin story. I would say I was someone who was always just fascinated with people and humans and human behavior and psychology. And interestingly enough, I was not interested in the business world at all. And I became a mental health therapist. I have my master's in psychology. I know you have yours in exercise psych, right?
Yep.
So I studied industrial organizational psychology and clinical counseling. So you and I speak the same exact language for the most part. So I was a mental health therapist, and I really felt as though I wasn't making as much of an impact as I could. And I hit a point where I kind of stepped back and said, there definitely has to be a way that I can make a bigger impact on people rather than just this one-on-one. So as many of us do, nowadays I started kind of a side hustle, a side project. And I started a company with my then boyfriend, now husband, and it was in sustainability. So I had no interest in the business world, but I was like, oh, green, sustainability, I'm in, and I understand people. So a big piece of business is people. So I really kind of fell in love with business and how business and entrepreneurship intersects with psychology and human behavior. And that kind of started me on the journey that I'm on now. I found myself coaching and consulting on the side. I realized I knew nothing about business except the people part. So I went back to school and got my MBA in business, where I studied entrepreneurship, and kept mentoring people as my next side project. Once I was a business owner, then I was mentoring, coaching, and consulting, and things kind of came full circle. And I hit a point where I said, I want to get back to working with people every single day. And I know that there's a way that I can do that on a bigger platform now that I have this business experience. So now I am an entrepreneur and executive coach. There's a ton of other things that I am beyond that. I'm a human potential expert. I'm a public speaker. I'm a community builder, people connector, workshop facilitator, action taker, crazy dog lady, caffeine addict.
I love it. I love it. What kind of dog do you have?
I have 2 boxers.
Oh,
They're giant and they think they're lap dogs.
That's perfect. Well, thank you for sharing your background. It's interesting how you said you weren't at all interested in business, and then you got into it, and now you're like full in. Did you have a different thought about what business was before?
Well, I should have guessed that you would have asked this. Knowing your background and knowing your understanding of psychology and mindset, my mindset about business was in just it just wasn't right. I had a really horrible mindset and perspective of what business was. Because I really didn't know much about the world, my mindset was, and my perspective was, if business is dog eat dog world, and you climb a ladder and you have to step on people, and if I were to get involved in business, I would be kind of like a sellout, and I would be all about money and not about people and not about making a difference. For some reason, that was ingrained in me, and that was my thought process, and that's something I didn't really want to be involved in. Now I realize that, at least with the people that I work with and the people that are attracted to me and that I'm attracted to, that couldn't be farther from the truth. And
Yep.
I've seen how your mindset about business and just about a certain industry can really shape not only your experiences with it and your interactions with it, but the type of people that you're finding as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I thought the same exact thing until I dove into it. So
Yeah.
that in common. So a part of, and you kind of touched on this a lot with mindset, one of the pillars is about keeping a positive mindset. So, you know, from the various backgrounds that you have, what are some strategies or tips that you could share with our audience that might be entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, when I'm thinking about mindset, I always go to this core statement, which kind of really shapes everything that I do when it comes to mindset. And that is words shape your world. Like I said, the words that I was using to describe business was kind of shaping what I was seeing. So specifically in my industry, I work with a lot, I mentor and coach a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of female entrepreneurs. And one thing that I see specifically with mindset and specifically with how words are shaping their world and how not only words are providing insight to their mindset, but how you can shift the words to shift the mindset is kind of two major things. And one is the mindset around money. And if I charge someone what I should be charging and what my services or product is worth, I'm taking advantage of someone, you know, and kind of a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of entrepreneurs, it can be a challenge when we're kind of telling ourselves a certain internal dialogue, like if I'm charging this amount of money for this service or for this product, you know, I'm kind of taking advantage of someone. That kind of really shapes your interaction with a client, and the client can feel that. Whereas if you really understand and look at it in terms of the value that you're providing, you know, I'll just throw a number out there. I have a client who her program is $1,000. Now, for her, she's like, that's so much money to charge. And if you think about how many hours I'm working with them and the resources I'm providing them, and is it really $1,000? And that's where she was coming from. Instead of all we had to do to kind of shift her mindset was to look at what after she works with someone, they get well over $1,000 in value back. After she works with someone, you know, they either make that $1,000 back, you know, really quickly, or even more so, in addition to all the other benefits. So if you're shifting your mindset into, I do deserve to be compensated for this immense value that I'm providing, that really not only does the client feel that, but you feel that too, and it really changes the entire experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Great tip. Thank you for that. Second pillar of Move Happy is about building community, and you mentioned
Yes.
with a lot of women. What are some tips that you can share with building strong with a community for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. So community is really important to me, and it's something that I struggled to find for a really long time. So when I struggled to find it, I built it. And that is something a lot of times I've experienced or heard of women and entrepreneurs specifically that feel lonely and feel as though they're struggling to find a community. And I know this sounds kind of cliche, but just build it and they will come. If chances are, if you're looking for a community and you're looking for something that doesn't exist, there's a ton of people looking for the same thing. And you just have to be that person that decides to take the initiative and take action on it and reach out and build something. And you will find those people and they will come to you.
Agree. Totally 100%. Love it. Absolutely. You are an action taker. I love it.
It might be a little too much because I don't sleep as much as I should, but
You're just so excited to get up every day, I bet.
I am. I wasn't always, but I am. And that's actually like a goal of mine for all of my clients is to shift into that place where like if they wake up and even I'm not a morning person at all. Like I take 2 cups of coffee before I can get on the phone with anyone. But I want the same thing for my clients that I have, which is when that alarm goes off and I'm awake, I'm like, I can't wait to do all the things.
I love it. Awesome. So the third pillar of Move Happy, of course, is about movement. So
Mm-hmm.
it started in a hospital. I worked in a psych hospital and created a program for my patients on a budget just so I didn't add, burden to the hospital. We didn't have funding. And
Yeah.
the patients got discharged. I wanted them to be able to have those resources as well, on a budget. So what are some of your favorite either sports, physical activities, or dance that don't cost a lot that you enjoy doing?
So a number of things. One is I'll give an example of what I did earlier today. Um, I used to be in the really bad habit of eating my lunch at my laptop as I kept working about. Um, but I've decided to kind of allocate that lunch time as like movement time.
Love it.
So I even, today I'm working at a co-working space. So that's another huge thing that, entrepreneurs, if you're struggling to find community,
Mm-hmm.
Google the closest co-working space and you'll find tons of people just like you.
Yeah.
So I was working out of my co-working space today. I'm still here now. And I, maybe it was probably like honestly an hour after I should have eaten lunch, but one of my coworkers said to another one, hey, we're going to go grab a bite. Do you want to walk with us? And I'm like, absolutely. I could really easily just order food on my phone right now and it'll arrive at the door. But I decided to actually just take the time, move away from the laptop and walk with them and then
Yeah.
kind of get that energy out. So I really just walking and giving yourself the time. For me, also playing with my dogs. When your dogs are, I don't know, 75 and 85 pounds, that's definitely exercise is running around with them. Um, but really for me, walking. I walk a lot and it also helps like sometimes if I'm on the phone with someone, like I will just walk in circles in my backyard because the other alternative is sitting in front of my computer. So for someone who's like extremely crunched on time, walking is amazing. And it's really, really, as you know, it's healthy. People
It
don't
is.
think of it as exercise. It's exercise, it's movement. I'm preaching to the choir talking to you about that. But those are kind of some of my favorite things. And also one thing I'm trying to implement more of is yoga. I am not too wonderful at it yet, but I'm getting there. And I'm telling myself, and I'm working with my words, shaping my world here, that it's a practice and I'm getting there, but that's something that I love too. And you can just YouTube that and you don't
Yeah.
even have to pay to go to a studio.
Yeah. I love yoga. Yoga with Adrian. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's it's really fun to hear what other leaders enjoy doing because you make an impact and an influence, and mental health. We know how important it is to move
Mhm.
our body in that aspect of making sure that we're keeping on track, taking care of our bodies. So
Absolutely.
I love walking too. Oh yeah, maybe next year. Awesome. Well, so what is something or what are you focused on right now that we at Move Happy can support you with?
So right now, I mean, you're often talking about community and how important community is. Um, I am really shifting my focus now because I'm such an in-person community person. I really would love to have more of a community on social media and connect with people that way. So it would be wonderful if anyone that's interested in kind of further chatting with me. I am that person that when someone comments on my Instagram, next thing you know, we're having an in-depth long conversation. Anyone can reach out to me to pick my brain for anything. So I would love to have people follow me on my Instagram, which is my name. My handle is just my name, which is CANDACEYAEGER.
Love it. Awesome. So everybody needs to follow you right away and DM you to get
Yes.
awesome.
And if I get a ton of messages at once, like you just said, I kind of do lots of things. So you guys some time, but I will respond. You can pick my brain, ask me questions. I'm here.
Love it. Love it. Excellent. And then the final question we always do something different every time, just so that our audience can kind of get to know you a little bit more. I always change it up, so I'm just literally thinking on the fly here, no plans or anything. So if you could have any superpower in the world, what superpower would you have and why?
So I'll tell you the initial thing I was going to say, and then I'll tell you what I really want. So right away in my head, because I've been doing a couple 12-hour days, I thought, and I'm short on some deadlines, I thought, you know what a really great superpower would be? Not needing to sleep. But then as that came into my head, I thought, wow, that's really unhealthy. So that's not really a superpower. So honestly, I think I would want to be able to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would want to be able to fly for a number of reasons. I don't like traffic, so that would be really convenient.
Yeah. Me too.
I really like being outdoors. I don't like having to deal with train schedules or plane schedules. It would be really great if I could just kind of wherever I wanted to go, just put on a cape and go.
Love it, love it. And you said train. I don't even think we discussed where are you based?
So I am based in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, which is an hour outside of Center City, Philadelphia. A lot of my business, I've lived in Center City, Philadelphia, and a lot of my business is based in Center City, Philadelphia. So all too often I'm getting on an hour and 15-minute train that only runs every hour.
That is a lot, yeah. Okay, I totally want to fly if I was there too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. Love to have you back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Erin. This was wonderful.